Good morning. It's a beautiful theme, harmonizing passion, purpose, and profession. I stand before you in the capacity of a musician, just a musician. As a matter of fact, you know, music is something that I'm often asked this question that how do I define music? One simple sentence I have for an answer. Who feels it knows it. You cannot really define what music is all about. How can you get into music? And I remember a quote by the great Bob Marley when he said, when it rains, many people get wet, but very few feel the rain. So music is all about your passion. When I was growing up in a middle-class family in Calcutta, it was not easy for me to pursue music because I did not have anybody in my family who was a practicing musician. When I was growing up, till then, the whole history of music was more about families, the traditional musicians' families. I was probably one of the very few who came with an identity with having nobody in the family being a professional musician. What I realized when I look back now, that I still feel good about it, that I had the power to dream. And when you have a dream, and if you are lucky, you also have the power to chase the dream. That is what happened in my case. Music is something, there are two sections. Either you are theoretically brilliant, sound, getting into the academics of music, or else you be a practicing musician, which solely lies on your faith, your power to surrender to your guru. And considering what our legacy is of India, the Guru Shishya Parampara was a new thing for me. Like not coming from a family of musicians, I didn't know what to expect when I went to my guru. When I look back, what I see that this tradition taught me the power to surrender. Because when you are not allowed to ask a question, but to sit and follow the instructions of your guru. In my life, I think I was very, very fortunate, and it was God's grace upon me that I went to the right guru and I chose the right profession. As the theme suggests, passion, I had tremendous passion for music. And I thank my parents that they identified what is there in me. And it was not easy because I come from a middle-class family, as I said, and the taboo that you have to get into a conventional profession. Otherwise, they all feel insecure. It is a social standing. What is your son doing now? Oh, he is into engineering or he is into medical profession. That's the conventional way of thinking. And it was not easy for my parents to face my relationships around my family to say that he's pursuing music. I was a student of South Point. When I say that I was lucky to get into the hands of the great gurus, that also includes my teachers in school. It hurts me tremendously when I see the mindset changing in today's time when you do not see your teacher as a person who gives light to your path. In my school, probably I was one amongst 2-3 others who were good at music. And my principal my teachers, they said, academics is not your cup of tea. Go home and practice. I cannot imagine that this happening today. Those were the teachers. Every time I get into a platform, get accolades, get appreciation for my work, I do Sashtanga Pranam to their lotus feet, that they were the people who gave me the courage and showed me the path. And music to pursue is not an easy task. I used to dream, like any other fellow students in my class. I would always sit at the back, at the last bench, because academics never interested me. And my teachers always appreciated that. All they told me always, so many of them I remember, said, don't play the desk. Wait for the class to be over, then play the desk. Because I would play all the time on the desk and sing. Because I used to learn singing and learn tabla. And my teachers, Madhuri Auntie, Nishingu Babu, all these teachers, they would come and say, Tanmoy, don't bang on the desk. Let me finish, then you play. And so that gave me immense mental strength. That, I'm not being, put aside for doing something which others are not doing. I always used to feel that, yes, I'm special. Yes, I was special because my teachers made me feel that I was special. And they had got nothing to do with music. They were like proper, regular, teachers teaching academics. But these are the people who are the pillars where I stand today. I realized one thing, that if you have a dream, chase the dream. Do not think about the results. Have the courage to step into the unknown. If you step into the unknown, then only you experience something extraordinary. In my life, I had been so lucky. God's grace has been upon me. When I was growing up, at a very early age, I had been spotted by great masters of Indian classical music. And I was lucky not to have played anyone who is just a musician. I was spotted by the greatest of musicians just by sheer talent. I had no CV, biodata, stating my father's name or my family's name. Nobody, just my guru's name. And whenever they heard me play, they extended their hands towards me. When I was 20, of course I cannot forget my parents. I was 21. I was about to complete my graduation. I was asked by Ustad Munawwar Ali Khan Sahab to go to Europe. So I came back home very excited. I asked my father, knowing that probably he will say, no, do your graduation first. So when I asked him that Khan Sahab wants me to go to Europe, so he calmly said, if that is your path, go forward. So I started traveling from the age of 21. And when I came back, all my college friends, I was like Europe return. College, I was like as a musician. And everybody would say, oh my God, he's like, and I never been represented as a musician on behalf of my college, being a student of Scottish Church College, because my work was to practice at home. And I remember also my principal in college, I would not be a regular in college because I would practice all night and sleep all day. And then again practice, go to my gurus and to other great musicians' house for practicing, for learning. So the principal asked me, what do you do? Why don't you come to college? I said, sir, I have to practice. Then what do you practice? I said, I'm a musician. Why don't you go and attend all the college fests and represent the college? I said, I'm not allowed to. By whom? I said, by my guru. Because I have to not display going and playing with, amateur musicians from college playing guitar or drums or whatever. This is a serious business. So I had to practice. So he said, that's fine. So you tell me which are the dates you can come. So I'll just make you present on all the other dates. So this is how my life ran, when I was growing up. But as I said, every step, every corner, I feel so good at this point of my life that I have played almost everywhere in the world, in every corner of the world. I have played in the greatest of venues. May it be Carnegie Hall, may it be Royal Albert Hall, may it be Queen Elizabeth Hall, may it be London Symphony. You name it, in all major symphony halls of America, in Australia, in Europe, of course. I worked in London for a few years. I stayed in America for many years, playing with Bharat Ratna Pandit Ravi Shankarji. One incident to justify what I'm saying is, he is one person who encouraged me to do more. He said, extend your barriers. Don't be satisfied with what you are getting, what you are doing. So that is why I used to teach in Japan, in Nagoya. And of course, I performed in many cities, in Osaka, in Kobe, in Hiroshima, in Tokyo, in Japan. I had a few Japanese students, and I loved the cuisine. So I used to think that I will try a venture to introduce a new cuisine for young boys and girls to come and experience, as I experienced when I went there first. One interesting thing, Raviji said, do you know how to use a chopstick? I said, no, Panditji. So he asked one of his Japanese student, Kenji Ota, who used to be a dear friend of mine, passed away, said, I give you 2 days. Practice. We were in Tokyo. So me and Anushka would use a chopstick. I would not. So he just said, you're going out for dinner and lunch with Anushka. Do you know how to use a chopstick? I said, no, I don't, Panditji. He said, I give you 2 days. Spend time with Kenji. Learn how to use a chopstick. Then I'll take you out for dinner. And I did. So I learned from Kenji-san how to use a chopstick. And that idea struck me, said, I have to open a restaurant, a Japanese restaurant in Calcutta. So that is how, I started thinking that beside my music, I have to do something to expose this great culture, this great music. Some, the shakuhachi and all these instruments, samisen and all these instruments, inspired me a lot listening to this new form of music. And so at this point of time, all I can tell all of you that when you have a dream, chase that dream. Don't be afraid. Don't think what the person next is thinking about you. I started working for television. I am one musician, classical musician, probably very few of us who work for television regularly. I am one person. For 30 years, I have worked for all the major channels, having my own talk show, have worked for all the reality music shows. I'm still working now on a reality show for one very well-known television company. So I branched out. And my gurus always told me, do not put your life in a bracket. Try and explore what more you can do with your art. That is what inspired me to do more. So I have a restaurant now. I worked for television. I have a band. My band, I had all the European friends playing music, invited them to Calcutta, and then I started training folk artists of Bengal. All the famous folk artists that you hear now most of them are trained by me. And I feel so happy that a Dhak player that I spotted 25 years ago got Padma Shri this year. You know, so it is very inspiring. I feel proud of myself that yes, I had the courage, I had the support of my parents, my gurus, and I did good to myself. I have no regrets because I know what I did to the fraternity and I know what I did to myself. You know, I see my friends. I'm not kind of making a statement. I'm just discussing that see my friends. They are now, most of them retired. All they have to do, their venue is to go to a club. And I have no time. I do work, I practice, I teach my students. I have at least 10 students who are national scholarship holders, central government, Ministry of Culture. I have students who are teachers in Ashoka University of Liberal Arts. I have students who are teachers in Allahabad University. So that gives me, as a guru, I also see that I have shown the path to my students as well. So, for me to be here with you is inspiring. I'm very humbled, with utmost gratitude. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you some other time. Thank you. Namaskar.